this lady, I used to, like in my early days of coaching, she was a massive inspiration for me in terms of understanding how to get clients through coaching. And I remember I used to religiously watch all of her stuff and follow her stuff, and it was just so good. And I remember like I got sidetracked by lots of other people. When we got on the phone, she said, "Why are you not following me anymore?" And the honest answer was, I just got sidetracked by so many different people, and I was like, "Oh, I've had enough of that." And she's taught me enough now. There's what was the kind of thing? It's like, oh no, I need to learn more. I need to learn more. What other people can I learn from? But the reality is that when you just listen to what she did and did what she did, I'd have probably got results a lot quicker than actually what I did. So let's bring Anne out here. So it's a real pleasure to welcome to the stage Anne Carden. Anne, good to see you.
Thank you, Jay. What an introduction. That was so awesome. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. So
You're,
excited to be here with you all.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And I was reading through Anne's bio and I was thinking to myself, this has got so many accolades and so many good things in it. Probably
You
go
could
on for
shorten it.
about 5, 10 minutes. So let me tell you a
Yeah,
little
don't
bit
do that.
about Anne. She's three times she's she's wrote 3 books and she's an international best-selling author, speaker, and podcast host, and a magazine publisher. She's been an entrepreneur for over 33 years, starting, building, and selling multiple businesses. In fact, she's actually sold 5 of her 7 businesses. And for the past 14 years, she's been helping people to grow their business and get incredible results, I'm sure. And today we've got a very special topic, Anne. But first, I want you to just introduce yourself and let people understand a little bit more into you of how you came to be doing what you're doing right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Well, I'm excited to be here with all of you, and I'm going to make this very short. But what I basically do is work with coaches, consultants, professional entrepreneurs who want to grow a really premium high-end business. So they're experts at what they do. Maybe they even come from career collateral. I call it career collateral. Maybe they come from some sort of a corporate position or background. And I help them take their genius and their brilliance and not start out low like most people are teaching. I help them start out with really high-end clients. So 25 to $125,000 is typically sort of the sweet spot that we play in, but I've helped clients get $400,000 clients. So we're going to talk about really high end, but there's also a marketing piece that goes behind that as well, which is stepping into the spotlight, building your influence. So that is what our topic is about today.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm really excited. I've already got questions in my head swirling around.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's just begin then, Anne, because people are at different levels of business in this group. Like, what should people be thinking about before they even consider going for, let's say, a 25 grand offer, a 50 grand offer? Where's the first starting point when they're thinking through doing something like this?
Well, first, you need to be good at what you do. So if you're just learning something, it isn't going to be for you yet. Just, not that you can add things to what you're doing to beef up that offer and make it high value. You absolutely can change the perceived value of an offer. But for the most part, you want to be really good at what you do. And this is one of the reasons, Jay, why I really love to help people take what they're already so good at doing. Most people already have loads of skills, loads of knowledge, expertise, experience, and they could be doing this, but it's not the norm out in the marketplace for coaches, right? They see, sell something very low and then try to ascend people. And so I teach a top down approach. No, let's put all of your brilliance and your genius and everything together into one really high end premium offer. And then everything else can become a downsell. I call it a descension model versus an ascension model. And so when you do that, you're selling yourself premium. And then if somebody can't afford your premium, you've got your next tier down, your next tier down. So like my book, my Expert in You book, is my very low thing. If somebody can't work with me or can't afford to work with me or whatever, they can go get my book, which is a blueprint, right? And so by working down instead of up, it is a much faster growth model, because think about it, if you get one $25,000 client, it is going to be a much faster financial leap for you than if you're selling something much lower, maybe $150 an hour or even a couple of $1,000s. So it's just a very different model. So what are you good at? What is natural for you? What do you already know? What's your background? We look at a lot of things when we help people do this. And I've helped people, just getting started in the coaching world or even consulting, and take what they already know and get those really premium clients. So it can be done if you already come with that experience. So the first thing to look at is, are you trying to learn something new? That's like going back to school, and now you still have to learn how to build a business and market and sell. But when you already come with what is going to be valuable to the market, now you just have to learn the business side, the marketing side, the sales side. So it's just faster.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like the psychology of it. It's the other way round, whereas most people will say, yeah, I get 3 to 5 grand clients, and it's
Right.
completely different psychology. I'm guessing like you were talking about value there. So people here might be thinking to themselves, well, what is something valuable worth 25K or 100K or 125K? Because in my head, I'm going, okay, like I have a one-to-one package, which falls in that ballpark, but it's not in the 100K mark. I'm just
Mhm.
interested, what is that valuable that you can charge that amount of money?
It really comes down to, it has to feel like a no-brainer for your clients. And so it really comes down to the positioning of the offer, the value of the offer. And Jay, there's not a one size fits all here. It's not a cookie cutter approach. So it's difficult to answer that, because for some people, they might want to add in some done for you services to
Mm.
beef up that offer. For some people, they might want to add a partnership to beef up that offer. Here would be a good example. Let's say you've created a lot of courses. If you're a coach and you've created a lot of courses, how can you pull all of those courses together and give people a bigger result, a bigger outcome, a bigger transformation? It really comes down to the transformation, the result, the outcome that you're giving people, what's included in that makes it so high value. And then here's the other piece: your market. Who are you going after? You can't sell a $25,000 offer if you're targeting people that absolutely have no money. I like to use the example of, if you're targeting someone that's a stay-at-home mom and is on some sort of government help, they're not going to invest in that kind of an offer. And so your market is a huge piece of this. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to change your niche or your market, but you might have to level up your market. So this is about moving yourself into the top 30% of a market, 20% of a market, depending on who you are working with. It's about moving to the top of that market, because there's money in every market. So a lot of people are like, well, what niche would I go after to do that? There's money in every market. It is a matter of how you position yourself in the market, what that offer looks like, what's the value of that, and playing at, I call it blue ocean, moving yourself into blue ocean and getting out of mainstream. And here's the reality: if you are great at what you do, you absolutely can do this.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I can hear very quickly. I always give the example of if you were having heart surgery and you knew that you only had 30 days to live, and if you didn't get surgery, you'd die. And there were two options. One was $1,000 and one was $30,000. Which one would you choose if you knew that if you
There
didn't
you
get surgery,
go.
you'd die? And straight away, even though they offer the same services, they're probably qualified to the same level.
Mhm.
You're going to go with 30K. All right. And so it's very interesting from a psychological and a positioning
Mhm.
sense of creating an offer like this. Now, does a an offer like this follow the same format as what's traditionally taught? So let's just say something like an Alex Hormozy. Alex Hormozy wrote the book $100 Billion Offers. Does it talk through the similar format, or is there some format that you normally follow?
There really is, as far as format, that is, again, there's no cookie cutter approach here. And that's what people have to understand.
Yeah.
But yes, you want to have a methodology, a framework, something that is going to, hi, Karen, something that is going to, um, again, raise the value, raise the perceived value. But this is really going to be different for everyone, depending on the type of business that they have and what they're doing in their business. So, for example, I think about one of my clients. She was charging $3,000. She was brilliant in marketing and sales, and she was just trying to sell a 90-day program, like a lot of coaches are told. But she had this incredible background in marketing and sales, and so we restructured her offer. And in a week of working with her, she went out to a client that she thought, or she went out to somebody that she thought could be a potential client, and she told them what she had, and they said, let's get on a call. And it was to help their sales team tighten up their webinar. And so she only worked with them 5 months. It was over $50,000 that she made, and she was coaching them. She wasn't even doing the stuff. Now, there was probably a little bit of done for you in there, helping them fix some things, but that was how fast and simple it could be. She just wasn't selling herself in her brilliance. That was really what it boiled down to.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some more examples. Obviously, Julia was asking for some examples, because that's an example of going in and really helping a team there. And that's what I'm hearing a little bit. And what you say, if you can help more people, I just kind of think to myself, like, for example, I've been asked to come and coach in like disaster recovery, a bunch of leaders, right?
Mhm.
So I can charge an absolute premium for that, because those leaders have a big impact on a lot of people in high pressure situations. And I always think to myself, uh, I could take like my one-to-one clients are normally like 7 figures, sometimes multiple 8-figure business owners. I can
Mhm.
charge them a massively premium price, because one shift, one insight, one thing for them could be
Yes.
worth sometimes hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars for them,
Yes.
versus someone who's a startup. You can still help those people, absolutely, but the value to them won't be the same,
It's
not
not
just in
going to be the
financial
same.
sense. So what I'm
Yes.
hearing is what you're saying is it's really about your same skill in a different context.
100%. You're absolutely right. It is, again, your market has everything to do with it. I mean, I was working with a mindset coach who was charging $1,700. But when we moved her into working with small businesses and helping their sales team with mindset, and she was only coaching them 2 hours a month, that was it. And it was it was a $50,000 a year package. And she was working with them 2 hours a month. I mean, do the math, that's only 24 hours of her time for $50,000. And so it really does come down to how you structure that. The other thing you can do, though, is you can do what we call value pricing or impact pricing. So let's say, and I've helped CPAs do this, and a lot of different types of professionals do this. Let's say you're going into, you mentioned working with a team, but what's the impact that can have? If you're working with a business or a professional, what's the impact that what you're doing can have with them? Because if you go in and let's say you help a sales, or like in this case with my client, she was fixing their webinar. Even if they got a 10% bump, she could do the math with them and say, if we can get you a 10% bump in that webinar, what is that going to mean to your business? Because they already had revenue, they could already see the numbers. And that is what made that so valuable, because they could see the numbers, they could do the math. And so when you're looking at like impact or value pricing, this is a great way to position it when you are marketing to these people and you're putting that offer together. So if you can help, I'm just going to use $1 million company, you can help them get a 10% bump. That's $100,000 bump, right? And in most cases that would be profit. A lot of times that would be profit. well, what could you charge for that? And so that's just a small example. And it doesn't always have to be money. And I'm sure there's a lot of coaches on here that are like, well, I'm not in the business space, or I'm not in the professional space. Well, you have to, again, think about the market that you're going after and the market that you're working with. But let's just say, for example, you're a marriage coach. You're helping people fix their relationships in their marriage. Well, a high-level CEO making $1 million a year is going to value not getting a divorce much more than somebody who has a job at McDonald's, let's just say, right? And so you have to, again, you have to look at, who do I want to go after in this market? Because if a $1 million CEO goes through a divorce, they're going to lose a lot more than $25,000 or $50,000. And so if you can help them fix that. So it comes down to, again, understanding how important this is going to be to the clients that you're really targeting.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense and gives you some ideas there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I was just thinking, when we come to the hot seat coaching, it would be good to bring some people out here,
Sure.
hear their ideas of what they're thinking, and you might be able to support them and go, hey, if you think about this, if you think about that. But we'll come to that in just a second. What are some of the challenges people typically face when they come to work with you when it comes to going to this higher level of pricing? Because of course, there's massive upside to it. There's massive benefits to it. I'm sure there's some resistance to it though, Anne. I'm sure there's like some, I don't know
Well,
about.
I have messages from clients that said I was shaking when they said yes, and I sent them the invoice and they paid me in full.
Yeah.
So I get that. But here's the thing. I have been asked this question so much. Do you have to mess with their mindset? Do you have a mindset issue around this? And here is the reality. In most cases, they know they want this. They know that so I'm looking for people that are looking for me, right? So they know they like what I'm saying, and they're like, I feel like I should be getting paid a lot more for what I do. I've got all this experience. I've got all of this expertise and knowledge. I want to get paid more. I just don't know how to put the pieces together. And so they come with already a desire. I'm not sitting there convincing people. And so that's the first thing, is I wouldn't take someone that I had to sit there and convince. But then the other piece of it is, as I'm working with them and I show them the value, why would you not think, it would mean this much? I will tell you this. I just am working with a client right now, and we're creating a $50,000 offer for him. And I said, what would you like to be charging? And he said, $50,000 sounds amazing. I would love to be coaching a client for $50,000. And I said, and he goes, but I'm just a bit nervous about it. So I said, well, what are results that because he's a new client, I said, what are results that you've been able to get for people? And what are you confident that you can deliver? And he said, well, I've helped, high level executive leaders triple their income. I've helped people get promotions. I've changed people's lives. I said, so do you see what you're saying there? Is that now, do you feel like that's worth $50,000? And he goes, oh my gosh, yes, 100%. So it's shifting their mindset around the value of that and getting them to see it. And when they see it and they see what they're capable of doing, the money, again, here's the thing too, when you're working with these high level people, it's not about the money. The money is not what they care about. They don't care about it the same way as somebody, who's trying to figure out if they're going to pay their electric bill or pay you. That's a very different person. But when you're working with in this premium level with these high level people, they have a very different mindset, and they are used to investing to get what they want. And they know that if they invest in you, 50,000, 100,000, my client, $400,000 deal that she closed, they know that not only are they getting the expert help that they're looking for, but they're speeding their success, they're speeding their results, they're buying the shortcut, and they're also buying that high level, that high touch. So if you understand how these buyers buy and what they're looking for, then you understand that what you're selling is going to be worth that.
Yeah, I can see that. And I give an example, like one of my one-to-one clients, he's in the UK. he doesn't want to do online. He wants to do in
Mhm.
person. He wants that sounds a bit wrong, skin to skin, but face to face. He wants to be in the room. He wants to uh, like have that level of treatment. And I do things for him, like on his birthday, I'll set something up. He doesn't know about it, or you know,
Mhm.
it's treating them very different to, let's
Yes.
say, a lower end client. And I think the benefit of that, Anne, of like that higher price in this example, is you can do that stuff for your clients, and it feels good
Yes,
to do
because you're
that
not
for your clients.
exhausted. Yes, and you're
Yeah,
not working with a million people.
yeah,
100%. And so you have to think about, is this the way you want to work with your clients? For me, I want to still coach my clients. That is it. I built and sold a lot of businesses, and I'm in a different place in my life, and this really fulfills me and it brings me a lot of joy, and I'm super passionate about it. And it's still a big piece of what I love to do in my business. So I'm not somebody that wants to have 10 coaches under me, building a big team like that. I have a team of people in my business, in my company, but they do all the other stuff for me. They do the marketing for me. They do the my podcast. They're doing all of the other stuff for me. I get to do the stuff I love, which is like this, Jay, showing up and pouring out to people. I love to do live streaming. I love to run virtual events and pour into people and share. And yes, I build my business like that and I get clients, but it also really lights me up. Like it is, I mean, I'm super passionate about it. So when you're working at this higher level with people, you can have $1 million business with 20, $50,000 clients. Think about that. My client who closed the $400,000 sale, she goes, I never thought about having $1 million business with this side, with this new thing that I'm doing, but now, wow, that's only 2 clients. And so when you're working at this level, it's a very different model. It's less to manage, it's more profitable. There's so many benefits to it. And again, if you're great at what you do, why would you want to play in the mainstream with everyone else? Set yourself apart. I say, are you charging beginner prices when you're an expert? I mean, think about that. You have every right to move into a bigger opportunity there.
yeah. And it's a challenging one for a lot of people, but I'm guessing the type of people that would be in this space would feel a certain level of competency in themselves already, because one of the challenges a lot of people face is, oh, I don't know if I can get the client or the result. And I think it doesn't matter what level of coach you're at, there's always a tiny little bit of like, hope I can get on the result. And that's been my experience anyway. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's true because anytime I'll just tell you a quick story. So I was working with a VP of a tech company and she wanted to go into consulting and or coaching, really coaching. And when she came to me, I know nothing about like agile and scrum and all these technology terms. I know nothing about that. And so I remember when I started working with her, but I do know how to build businesses and I do know how to help people do this. And so she came to me because she liked my content, and I thought, oh gosh, I really hope I can help her because I don't know enough about the tech industry to that degree. But when I started working with her, and I will tell you, so here's what I thought. Okay, I'm just going to hang on to her money and I'm not going to spend it. So if I have to return it, I will do that because I was so nervous about working with her because I just didn't know enough about her industry. And as we started working together, it was like, it's all the same stuff I know. It's all the same stuff I know how to do. And that was that was a big shift for me because then I realized, Anne, you can do this in any industry. Like it does not matter because your process and your method is still the same. They know about their stuff, but I know how to help them put together that presentation. I know how to help them position themselves. I know how to help them make sure that the market will want what they have. And so a good example is when we put her offer together, I said, now here's how I want you to really validate this. I said, go out to, she knew a lot of CEOs, right? For she had been in her business for years or been in the business for years. I said, go talk to some of those CEO friends of yours and ask them if they would be interested in this. And her minimum was $200,000. And so not only did she have a waiting list before she launched, But she said one person that she knew said, when you get this going, I'll probably want to buy this from you. And, and so maybe a year down the road, I want to buy this from you, because what she had decided to do is she was going to bring in other CEOs and people that wanted to retire, but they didn't want to like completely retire, to help deliver some of this. And she was going to kind of be the rainmaker. She was going to bring in the business, and she was going to let them basically run it and go in and do their genius stuff. And that was how she had decided she was going to build it. So that's just, another example. But so when you're talking about confidence, yes, that can come up. But when you do it enough, when you do it a few times, and worst case scenario, if I had to return somebody's money because I felt like I just made a mistake and I couldn't help them, I would do that. I mean, that's integrity, right? I haven't ever had to do that, thank goodness, but I would. And so when you just kind of think about it that way, you're just coming from a very different place. You're coming, from a servant's heart. But I'm also very careful about the clients I bring in, because if they don't have expertise or anything I can work with, I can't do this with them anyway. I can still help them build their business, but it's just going to be a little bit longer process.
Yeah, that's powerful. Can you still hear me? Because I think it's a bit jumpy.
There were some questions that came in. Do you want me to answer some of these, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. Someone said, are these buyers more demanding? So this one actually caught my attention, because you would think this, right? But the answer is no. It has not been my experience. In fact, one of the things that I hear from my clients when we do this with them is they say, oh my gosh, this is like a dream working with these people, because they're not as needy. Now, again, vet your clients, right? If they're difficult from the very beginning of the call, you're probably not gonna, you might want to consider that, right? But for the most part, no, they're in a very different place in their mindset, in their needs. A lot of times these higher level people, they understand what it's going to take. And again, they're buying the shortcut. They're buying your guidance and your support, and they value that. They value that. So you have a very different type of client when you're working with people at this high level. And here's the other thing. When you are working at this level too, you also want to make sure that in the sales process, and before you take them on as a client, you establish your authority. You let them know the way you work. You let them know what those boundaries are. And when you do that at the very beginning of the relationship, now you have a partnership with this person, with this client. But if you just let people run over you and you don't establish that at the very beginning, then yes, you are going to have a difficult client. But for the most part, no, my clients are, I hear it over and over again. This was like a dream. This was a dream. I can't even believe they're paying me this much money, because I'm not like the coach that, had the $50,000, 2 hours a month working with that sales team. She loved it. She just loved it. And she's, it was 2 hours of her time a month. And she said, do you realize what I went through working with a lot of the clients I was working through or working with before? Because when you're charging low fees, you are also going to get a lot of times more difficult clients, because the money is all they're focused on. They're not focused on the result or the transformation. And they also don't understand what it's going to take to get that.
Yeah, that's
So that was a great question, by the way.
great perspective. What I'd love to do, Anne, is see if anyone's willing to come out here, and if you've got an idea of something you want to maybe explore with Anne, just raise your hand or put me in the comments. We can bring you out. I just love to get a couple of people out here. Again, it's a rare opportunity, and just be prepared to be messy with it. Like, nobody's perfect. Like, if no one goes, I'm probably going to do it anyway.
One thing I will say, Jay, that I do want to talk about, because, we said this was about stepping into the expert spotlight and selling. One thing I do want to say, though, is you cannot get these premium clients. I always say, if you look like the cheap used car, you have to look like the Lamborghini. You have to look like you're the expert. So there is an outside perception. And so your influence and everything that you're building out there for people to see, people are going to go Google you. So if you don't have a strong online presence, they can't see that you truly are an expert for what you do, and they can't clearly see, what you why you're so good at what you do, then you will miss those opportunities. It's going to be more difficult. So the marketing piece has to go along with it. The
Yeah.
message, the positioning, all of that has to go along with getting these premium clients. And so if you don't have strong market positioning, why you are the person that you are, you will miss those opportunities, and you won't get people that want to pay you that kind of money. So we didn't talk about that, but that's a really big piece of it as well.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned it. Like a lot of people focus so much on the message, but they don't necessarily focus on how they position themselves in the marketplace.
Right.
I always tell a story about how perception is really important in marketing across the board, right? Because you need to, if I, for example, showed up all of the time and I was just a car crash and just crying on camera and my life's a mess, then no one would ever buy from me. And I remember I went out to Florida to my coach at the time. He hosted a retreat in a mansion, and he had his Ferrari parked out the front. And I decided to just take a picture, and I was there with my shades in the sunshine, and I just had my stood in front of the Ferrari, in front of the mansion, and no one else was about. And I wrote a headline, and it said, "Couldn't resist," right? But there was a bit missing from that, and it was "couldn't resist." Hashtag fake it till you make it, right? As just a test. And people were congratulating me about getting a Ferrari and asking me like, "Whoa, this is amazing," when it's arrived. Now, I'm not talking about lying here, but positioning yourself in the right way so people perceive what they need to perceive in order to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
It's really, really important. I think overlooked by a lot of people.
Yes. And the other thing too is, people don't realize when you're leveling up and you're going into this type of a market, to work in this type of a market with those kinds of offers, people don't realize that they're often their entire marketing is off. It's just not even relevant for these high level people, these high level buyers. It's just completely off. And so these people, and even their offer is off. Everything that they're doing is off. Their positioning, their sales process, their offer is off. And I have a client that we took him from from zero to $1 million in almost less than a year. Because everything he had tried to do for 6 months, it was not working. It wasn't working with his market. They didn't understand it. He was trying to charge something for $4,000. So we quickly restructured his offer and made it a $25,000 offer. We changed his marketing. We changed his positioning. We changed his sales process, and we got it working. And when we did, it was rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And that is how, and the other thing that the other thing that we did, and I teach this to my clients, is don't fund your clients. This is a big one. Don't fund your clients. Get a funding company or get someone so now you're getting paid that revenue and it's hitting your bank account. So if you're charging $25,000 or $50,000 or whatever, you're getting paid that entire amount of money, and you're not funding your clients. I see this with coaches a lot. They break it up. Okay, we're going to break your fees up over 12 months. And the problem with that is you stay cash poor. And so when you fund your clients through a third-party funding company, they can offer them much better options than you can. And you can hit, your bank account can grow a lot faster. That ramps up your business then, and that allows you to grow even faster. So I think I got a little off track there, but
No,
that's just
it's
kind
really
of an
good.
example too. But everything that Nick was doing, that the client I was talking about, it was not speaking the language of the people he was going after. The offer was really crummy, to say the least. I mean, it was really a bad offer, but we created such an offer by understanding what will make these people buy this and how can we position that. And so by changing all of that, that's where he was able to really take that and run with it. So there's moving parts to this for sure.
Absolutely. I want to bring Storm out here because I think Storm had a question.
Hello. Sorry, I am having some camera issues. I don't know
It's no problem at all. Your voice sounds
So,
amazing.
thank you.
I'll hand you over to Anne. What's your question?
Fabulous. And thanks so much for sharing. It's been so interesting to hear about your customer journey and positioning people in a new place. With regards to that, I mean, obviously there have been a couple of questions in the chat about when you're positioning yourself. Do you get rid of old things? And how do you actually put yourself in front of this new client base?
That's a great
There's
question.
obviously a big shift involved there.
Mhm. So I always say if you've got things that are working, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. You need cash flow, right? So you don't have to dump everything, but could a lot of those things become your downsell? So let's say, for example, you are selling something. Let's say your highest offer is $10,000. Okay, how can that now become your lowest cash offer? How can you move that to the bottom of what you offer, that and so that becomes your downsell? That I always say, so there's a floor in every business when you're talking about pricing. So you want to raise the floor. What's the minimum you would take from a client? And that becomes your floor. So raise the floor. So maybe that $10,000 high-end offer that you have becomes your lowest offer, and then you add a couple more tiers to that, or you at the very least add a really high premium offer. So that's the first thing as far as like, the structure and doing this. And then you said so then you have to get positioned for the premium. If you stay in your positioning for the low thing, that's all you're going to attract. You are never going to attract these premium people. And then you have to try to upsell them, but they're not even the right people. This is why selling something for $47 and trying to get people to buy 50,000 is a very difficult model, because the $47 people are not the $50,000 people. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it can't be done. But again, if you think about the $50,000 people, they're in the mindset, I want speed. I want to get fast results. I want, I'm buying the shortcut here. I'm going to invest in my success. I'm going to invest in what I want here. And so they just are in a different mindset. As far as where to find them, that absolutely comes down to who you're targeting, because I have so many strategies and ways that I teach my clients to get to these high level people. But again, I get all of them in the spotlight, all of them building their influence. That is a given. I call them next level marketing strategies. So you have to be seen, you have to be heard as the expert so that they can see that you're for them. But everything has to level up. So if you try to keep one foot in the low fee stuff and one foot in the high fee stuff, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. You have to go all in. I'm working with a client right now. We're doing her $100,000 offer, and she's been selling herself kind of with those not super low end, but lower end services. And so she kept asking me, well, do I have to change this? And do I have to change that? And I said, you're not going to attract $100,000 clients if they see that you're doing this. And I showed her why, the mindset of that and the psychology behind that. And she's like, okay, that makes total sense. Well, then her husband said, aren't you still trying to like keep one foot in the in the past and one foot in the future? And so she told me yesterday on the call, I'm all in. I'm going all in on these $100,000 clients. And
Yeah,
I'm
well, I mean,
big on this. Yes.
it's a big commitment, because I mean, I have to admit I'm guilty of that. I'm not a coach. I'm a brand and web designer. But I
Yeah.
did the whole flip to higher level marketing and higher level product offering a year or two ago. But at the end of the day, those little jobs, I think it might be a little bit of mind trash, but those little jobs do pay the bills.
Well, all I can say in a situation like that is you've got a marketing problem that you're not bringing in the clients. So there's so many ways to market again, but you have to do outbound to get inbound results. And a lot of people don't realize this. You have to put in effort for marketing and have a marketing system that can bring you these people consistently. And most most coaches just don't have that. They're out there just trying to get a client at a time, and they just don't have a good marketing system. Or a lot of here's a good example: funnels. Okay, funnels are not for high level clients. High level clients don't go through funnels. They see you, they come across you, they won't even engage on your content. They will see you, they will come across you, And all of a sudden they will book on my calendar, and they said, I went and checked you out. This is why the positioning is so important, the influence, the spotlight. They'll say, I checked you out. I know you're the person that can help me. I want to know what it looks like to work with you. Well, that's a very different sales conversation and mindset from having to convince people. So that's why I'm out there. That's why I do things like this. That's why I'm in the spotlight. And I'm building my influence, because when those people come to me, it's like pre-selling you. It's like pre-selling you. But I also do outbound work. I run virtual events, and I do things that I get clients for my podcast, and I do outbound work to get inbound results. And so if you're not getting those people coming to you or booking on your calendar, that is the marketing system problem.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you so much for your answer.
I hope that was helpful.
Great.
Very, thank you.
And thank you for asking. Such a great question.
And thank you for being our first person to actually come out here. That's incredible. Leading by
Yay, give her
example.
some love.
And a good question here. Don't they need to trust you before they purchase high end? I'm sure you've got a great answer for this.
Well, that is the importance of being seen, being heard, being in the spotlight. I'll give you a good example. I had a client that was a speaking coach. And the problem, I went and looked at all her content. She was writing great content. She was putting good stuff out there, but I said, you're a speaking coach, and yet I don't see one video of you. I don't see you on video. I don't see you speaking. I don't even know what your voice sounds like. I was obviously being fictitious, but I said, why would somebody hire you to be a speaking coach when they can't even hear what your voice sounds like? And that you're not even talking, like you're just posting. And so we had to completely level up all of her marketing, I call it your influence system, your expert and influence system. You need two sides to marketing. This is really important for everyone to know. If you're going premium, okay, if you're not, maybe not a big deal, but you can do funnels and run ads. But if you're going premium, you want to have what I call a marketing influence system, expert influence system, and you also want to have a marketing system. So your influence system is the thing that builds that personal brand, gets you seen in the market as the expert. People look and go, wow. I mean, I was on a podcast one day and somebody said, I have a celebrity on here with us today. Well, I had to laugh. I am not even close to being a celebrity. But the fact that he had that perception told me, okay, Anne, your influence system is working, right? It's working. And so that's what you want. And that never stops. You're building that all the time. You're consistently building your audience and your network. That should be a daily thing. Whether you're doing it or you have a VA doing it, it doesn't matter, but you're building that. And then you've got the marketing system. How are you going to build revenue? How are you going to get revenue? Because a lot of people think that if they build it, they will come. And sometimes they do. But you still have to go get in front of those people. And that usually takes some sort of outbound. Storm, was Storm, right? You're doing, if you want those $100,000 clients, go and prospect who could use your help. And you know that they're also going to be someone that has the money. And you can reach right out to them and talk to them about how you can help them do, something very high end, very premium. Obviously, there's a strategy behind all of this, but for those types of clients, you can prospect them and reach right out to them, but they'll never go through a funnel, and they won't engage on your stuff. So there's a lot of different strategies that you can use. It just comes down to who you're targeting.
Yeah, this has been absolute gold, and just so much to think about. And then I think what I'm noticing is almost like just a subtle shift of, okay, change the context, and you can try, like, I know it's not as simple as that, but just as a first shift is like, if you change the context, you can change how much you price yourself and how much you're perceived to be worth. And I think that alone, for many people, will probably land a lot for them. I think this has been amazing. I know you have a gift of some kind you want to share. Can you just tell us a bit about that?
Yes. So I actually have a gift on how to scale your business beyond 500K in 2024. And you can go check out, it's a 30-minute video. It walks you basically through the process that I'm talking about. You can go check that out at expertinyou.biz. And if you want, if you want to go see more, but if you want to just book a call to talk to me and see if you could do this in your business, if this is a good fit, then you can book a call at acarden.com, not Ann Carden.
We'll put the links in the chat for people if they want to grab hold of that. As I said, I've been following Anne for a number of years now, and as you can see, she really knows the stuff. And I just want to say it's been a really great pleasure to have you on, and just thank you so much for your big heart and being here as well.
It is my pleasure. I love doing this. So thank you so much for having me. Bye, everyone. Thank you.